Tracey Derwing talking about her new book that she co-authored with Murray Monroe, Pronunciation Fundamentals, Evidence-Based Perspectives for L2 Teaching and Research. Tracey, you're very well known for your work on intelligibility. How does the concept of intelligibility enhance what we typically associate with the teaching of pronunciation?
Well, intelligibility has to do with how much the listener actually understands of what the speaker says. Mm-hmm. And we think that and the other important speech dimension, comprehensibility, how easy or difficult it is to understand a speaker, that these two things really enhance our teaching of pronunciation because they give direction as to where to put our focus. So, a lot of materials take sort of a scattergun approach and look at every deviation, or I shouldn't call it a deviation, but every difference between an L2 accent and the accent of the local community, right? Mm-hmm. And so they work on every aspect that differs, and yet a lot of those features never have a serious effect on intelligibility.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah. So, for instance, the notorious TH sounds, the and the. A lot of non-native speakers have difficulty producing those sounds, but those sounds are really not all that important. And I think that a lot of materials often emphasize those sounds because they're salient, they're noticeable if somebody uses them, or substitutes an S or a T or a D or a Z, but they're not really important at all to intelligibility. Most listeners can adapt to that immediately. And so why waste time on that when there are probably other issues that are having a greater effect on how well someone can understand the speaker? So we think that the notions of intelligibility and comprehensibility are really crucial because they make pronunciation teaching far more efficient. And we know this because there's a lot of evidence to show that. I mean, in the past, people have advocated for this idea, but now there's lots of evidence. And so, for instance, the whole notion of functional load. So Catford and Adam Brown both came up with this notion and hierarchies for functional load, which suggests that some consonants matter more than others because there are many more minimal pairs that are separated by those consonants. So P and B, for instance, is a high functional load pair. And that means that intelligibility is going to be compromised to a greater extent with substitution of P for B or vice versa than a substitution that involves th and the, where you substitute an S for a th, for instance.
Oh, it's so refreshing to hear. I mean, I love hearing you say all these things right out loud because I think a lot of us say this, and I'm going to be pointing to you often. So let me just try to sew it up a little bit. If intelligibility is how much a person understands, we can say that's kind of a quantitative notion, and then comprehensibility is how easy is it? So it's more of a qualitative notion. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, it is. So comprehensibility has to do with effort. And what you want is for the listener to have minimal effort to expend to understand what's being said. Because that means that they're not going to dread talking to somebody where they really have to strain, right? And really have to listen hard. You just want it to be easy. And, we know from research that there are people who have relatively heavy accents who are very easy to understand. Yeah. So it depends what it is about the accent that is affecting intelligibility and comprehensibility.